Utah, give me 2.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Palazzo Podcast Prospects Power Half Hour. I'm here with Phil Govier, as always. Phil of Sports on Twitter, PHIL of Sports. And today we're back with a special guest who's been here before. He's becoming somewhat of a regular. Very busy in the Palazzo Podcast Discord, which is free and available. If you want to hear some quality stuff about life in general, Benjamin Chase is in the zone over there. He is openly discussing many things. You're throwing out sermons, man, on life, and I'm really digging it. So thanks for being here.
Hey, no, I am actually, I'm a lay minister as well. So, we could literally get into sermons as well. So, that's a whole nother issue, but we'll leave that for a whole nother deal.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Make sure you follow everybody here. Like I said, follow Ben on Twitter. It's Big Gentle Ben on Twitter. Very easy, not complicated. Ben knows a lot about amateur scouting. You have done a lot of great work with video scouting, and there's so much to learn from you. So I'm grateful that you're here. I'm at MJ Govier on Twitter. Palazzo Podcast, 2Ls2Zs. Like I said, the Discord is free. Get in there. We got a really, really great community. And I'm not just saying that. People say things like, it's true. It's all true. But we got so many people constantly sharing ideas about what to do with your fantasy teams, or trades, and prospects, and all this stuff. So big fan of what we're doing right now in the Discord. We're really gaining a lot of momentum. So if you want to be a part of that, go to the Twitter feed. It's at the top of the page. There's a Patreon link, and there's a Discord link, which is free. So it's a half hour or less. We try to do the show. We got to get right into it. 9 prospects outside of the top 100. Who wants to go first? How are we going to do this, Phil? What do you think? What's the order of business?
Let's work off Ben's list of guys, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in with the numbers I've ran. I will say, I just have one guy I'll kick things off with, though, because he did break my ERA estimator with a negative estimated ERA. Wilmer Flores, not that Wilmer Flores, the other Wilmer Flores of the Detroit Tigers, who I believe came up on the preseason potential next big 3, is going bananas at high A. So Tigers fans, give Wilmer a watch. And I believe it's Wilmer Flores that plays for the Giants' cousin, if I'm correct, or brother. They're related.
They are related. It's one of those things where everyone in the family has the same name. I think there's like Wanders Franco,
George
and there's
Foreman.
Rugned Odors. There's names like that you find around in the league. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Ben cleared that up for us, too, because Wilmer came up in the Discord the other day, and people were like, all the names of – there's so many prospects who have similar names, same names, and that's a fun game we could play. But Wilmer Flores of the Tigers, keep an eye on him. Breaking your ER estimator, that's got to be a good thing. I don't care what ends up happening.
Well, it's bad for the estimator, but it's good for
All right, Ben, so let's go. 9 prospects outside the top 100. Let's start from 9 to 1. Just get it going. Who's number 9?
Well, I broke this up by league, and I did 1 hitter and 1 pitcher. And then I just happened to there were 2 guys on one particular team, so ended up with 9 instead of 8. But I'll tell you, 2 orgs could have dominated both, and that is the Pirates and the Cardinals. And so I'll start with Kel Mitchell in AAA with Indianapolis, just because if you're a fantasy owner and you're looking for a guy who might get some time this year, Kel Mitchell was a big-time prospect when he got drafted, coming out of high school. And he's finally starting to live up to some of that hype that he had. And Garrett Mitchell and Kel Mitchell were kind of guys that folks mistaken for each other coming out of high school, just because they were both really big-time high school athletic prospects. And then Garrett went on to college. Cal got drafted and went on to the pros. And he's just kind of been good, but never really exploded yet. Well, now he gets to AAA, and he's starting to actually – he's doing the things. He's not striking out. 12.9% strikeout rate is what I had as of when I wrote the article that I put out last week. And he's really not changed that much at all. I mean, he's striking out at a very low rate, but he's also showing power, he's showing speed, and he plays a really good defense that could work at all 3 outfield spots. So, and we're talking the Pirates here. The Pirates are going to have open spots as the season goes on. So a guy who's in AAA, who's showing out, I don't know if Brian Reynolds is good to be there all season. He might be. He's that type of guy that if you're the Pirates, you want to build a foundation around good guys like that. But he's also a guy who'd be very, very valuable come midseason too. So, there's a potential for outfield openings in Pittsburgh. That's a guy to keep an eye on. And really, I could have had a Pittsburgh hitter at every single level on this. They have that many guys that are just kind of busting out that were off of the top 100 and really solid plays or solid guys that you could look at here. But he's the one that I happen to highlight just because I felt like he's close. He's going to be someone people should really be paying attention to. So,
any retort, Phil?
No, I dig him. I've got the ex-WOBA estimator at 370, which is excellent.
Hey, what's his name, Phil?
Kel Mitchell.
There you go. We get the bad habit sometimes. We start saying him and he, and then people jump in. They're like, "Who are we talking about?" So I do it all the time too. So I try to always say the player's name if I can.
And I have Kel Mitchell's estimated barrel rate at 9.9%. Which is good. I mean, that's plenty of pop for the big league level. I don't know that he's going to be a huge home run guy, but he could be a 2020 type guy, which is great for fantasy. And one thing I was just looking too, he hasn't been caught stealing yet this year. He's 5 for 5 in stolen base attempts. So it looks like that part of his game is progressing as well. So like Ben said, it actually looks like a lot of the parts are coming together so far early on for Cal with the Indianapolis Indians. Great minor league team, great stadium there in Indianapolis.
Are they the Indians or the Guardians now?
No, they're still the Indians.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah.
They still get to keep. They still have that. And I think theirs goes back to Indiana. They actually relate that. That's how they've kept it because there was a movement a while back to change it because of that relation, and they said no, it's because we're Indiana, so we call it the Indians. Which, anyway, we'll just leave that. We'll stop right
That's
there.
Fine. Yeah, I got no beef with that.
So the next one I'll go after is my Cardinals guy that I highlighted, which I know Phil's a fan of, and that's Mason Nguyen.
Yeah.
I could have highlighted probably a half dozen Cardinals guys as well, but Mason Nguyen he's the type of guy who they've had a number of guys coming out of high school recently that could have been drafted as a pitcher, could have been drafted as a hitter, probably would have been at least a second rounder as either. And Mason Nguyen went to the Cardinals, which frankly, a guy like that goes to the Cardinals, you start to go, oh crap, he's going to turn into a stud. Just because that's what they do. And they made him into a hitter only. And most scouts, most folks said he's probably going to take a while. But when it all clicks, he's going to be really good. Okay, that makes sense. Everyone kind of figured, well, give him 2-3 years and then it'll click. And it's already clicking. And I mean, all the things you kind of thought, well, he's probably going to be a guy who'll hit a lot of balls into the dirt. Ground ball rate is like halved almost this year.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous how quickly he was a 50% ground ball guy. He's now down to 35 when I wrote this article. When I was looking at it the other day, it was down to 33. So, I mean, a guy who went from half to a third of his balls going into the ground, that's remarkable in a year to just do that. And then strikeout rate has basically gone down by half as well. It went from 26, and then when I rechecked on this article over the weekend, it was down to 13. I had it down to 14 when I wrote the article, but it's down to 13 when I checked this weekend. I did see that he had either a 3 or a 4K day on Sunday after I had checked it. So I can't tell. It may be up a little bit from when I actually checked it that last time, but still, regardless, it's not up to 26%. And he's not a power hitter. He's not going to hit for 25 home runs, but he's that type of guy who's going to be, I mean, think offensively like an Adam Kennedy. If you want to think like Cardinals, old school Cardinals, a guy that will give you 10, 15 home runs, who's going to steal you 20 bases, probably going to do a lot of really nice things offensively and play really good defense. That's the one thing. Like that's always been there. And of course, the kid could throw upper 90s off the mound, so he's got the arm. And he's just that type of a player. And coming up through the Cardinal system, they're not going to push him if he's not ready. But it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't bounce up. He's at high A right now. That next step to Double A is a big step. So they're probably not going to push that too early, but it wouldn't surprise me after all-star games for minor leagues in, mid to late June if he doesn't get a bump up to Double A.
Yeah,
that would be fast.
For a high school draftee in 2020 to hit Double A that early, that would be a really quick mover.
So I see. Yeah. I was just looking his first pro experience in 2021. They sent him right to the Florida State League, to low A. They didn't even send him to the complex or anything. So, like Ben said, you can tell what the org thinks about him. And the Cardinals, like Ben said, aren't an org that'll push somebody if he's not ready to be pushed. And they're pushing Nguyen, so he's ready to be pushed, I would say. And then I'm looking, he's 43 for 48 in stolen base attempts in his minor league career so far. He's only played 116 games.
He's a ridiculous athlete.
Yeah. Great first step.
Yeah.
Mason Nguyen. Okay, that's exciting. He also looks like a guy who he had a brief struggle. His plate discipline went down a great deal, and then it bounced right back up after he made the adjustment. So you like to see that bounce back too, right? That's a good thing to look for the adjustments that are made maybe a little bit more quicker than other prospects, Ben.
Yeah, and that's, for young guys coming out of high school, you're going to have some of that. I'm adjusting to pro pitching. I've never seen a ball break like that. I've never seen a fastball, even if it's maybe I've seen 98 before. Usually if I've seen 98 in high school, it's a guy who throws 98 that looks like a dart throw. It's not a guy who throws 98 that can just keep rising or 98 that sinks like it's coming off table. Seeing 98 that can move is a whole new experience for most high school kids in their first pro experience. So that first adjustment, and they sent him straight into full season ball and said, here's some guys coming straight out of college that you're now going to have to play. Good luck. And, and he actually, he handled some of it, and 26% strikeout rate. While that's significantly higher than what he's doing now, even then, that's not horrible. Today's game, you get red flags go off when a guy's at 30%, but 26% for a first time through the minor leagues for a high school bat, that doesn't raise a ton of red flags. It's just that one of those where he wasn't giving you much else and he was striking out at that rate and putting the ball in the ground 50% of the time. So you kind of went, there's still some development here, but you figured that would be a little more incremental than what it has been. It really exploded up. So,
yep. Okay. Mason Nguyen, good times. All right, who's next here on the Plausible Podcast Prospects Power Half Hour?
So I was going to mention, there are 3 guys on here. Minor League Baseball just released today their April Players of the Month, and 3 of the guys that I mentioned earned that honor, which is kind of cool. I thought that was kind of a neat deal.
Well played.
Yeah, I was just to say, I all 3 of them happen to be pitchers, but the one arm, I could highlight my team, highlight a Braves arm, but actually the arm that I think is you might actually see this year is Brandon Walter, who's with Portland in the Red Sox system. He's at Double-A. And lefty, he was coming out of college. He had just had Tommy John surgery before, early on in his college career, was still rehabbing, got drafted, I'm looking at my own right up here, 26th round in the 2019 draft. So then when the pandemic season hits, he worked hard and went to a velocity place, worked on a lot on his delivery and all sorts of things. He's come back. He's throwing a lot harder than he ever did. He used to be a low 90s guy. Now he's throwing mid, and it's hard sink from the left side. And he's got kind of one of those sweeping sliders that everyone's throwing now, rather than the hard, sharp slider. Everyone's throwing that kind of the Andrew Miller, the Andrew Miller sweeping slider that everyone likes. And he's got a, it's not an amazing changeup, but he knows how to put it in there. And the combination from the left side really works well. And up until I think his last start, he actually had a negative FIP. So, I mean, that's the type of season that this guy has had. He has just been sharp every time out, good control, and he's tacking on innings, not going 9 every time out, but he's getting 6 a lot of times out every time. And I mean, that's impressive as you're going along with major league teams that can't, they had a shortened spring training. They're looking for arms a lot of times. He's not on the 40 man, but the Red Sox they might be looking for arms as the season wears on. And especially a guy from the left side, who knows if Chris Sale might ever actually, see the light of day in Boston again. But, that's another sad story for all of us who once owned Chris Sale, or still do. But Brandon Walter might be a guy that steps onto that rotation at some point this year.
Wow. Okay. Brandon Walter. Yeah. He also plays for the Portland Sea Dogs, who have one of the coolest logos. That's always one of my favorite minor league affiliates.
Solid, yeah.
The Sea Dogs, man. Okay. So who are these
I've got Walter 10th in all minor leagues by my ERA estimator. 10th best. 152 ERA estimate. It just uses strikeout rate, walk rate, and ground ball rate. So he's not a guy I've looked at, but he's top 10, and that performance looks like he throws a lot of strikes, gets a lot of swinging strikes too. So great pick, I would say.
Interesting. Who are the other two, Ben, that are the players of the month?
They're both the next two down pitchers. Brandon Olthoff, who's in the Angels organization. He's I'd say he's probably on his way to be a reliever. If I could talk, that'd be great. Throws kind of a frisbee slider that's might even be a plus slider. It's ridiculous. It's really, really hard to pick up. It's really, really hard to get good quality wood on his slider. And he throws it like 65% of the time because he throws like 90 with his fastball. And so he's probably, and he doesn't really seem to have a good third pitch with that. That said, he pounds the zone. So, I mean, he doesn't walk anybody. He throws that slider and nobody can hit it they don't seem to generate any home runs out of it. He gets a lot of ground balls out of it. So, I mean, you could be talking about a guy who really works well as a multi-inning option in the bullpen. You go through a lineup, or go through a lineup once, or go through, 7-8 hitters in the middle of the game and eat up some innings. That'd be a huge role for a lot of teams, and there's a lot of value in that. And he was, 19th round or something like that. I mean, he was in the middle of their, the Angels drafted nothing but pitching last summer, and this is a guy that could end up stepping up for them out of the middle of that draft, which would be a big value for them. And last but not least is Royber Salinas of Augusta in the Braves system, and he is the minor league strikeout leader right now by 15 over the next closest guy. He's got, I think, 52 strikeouts right now. Really has had an impressive year. He's come out, he's touched triple digits. Really, really impressive slider. And that's about it. I mean, he can throw a curve, he can throw a change, but that's, they're there. But he's, for me, watching him, and even as a Braves guy, I'm kind of worried about long-term as far as he's a guy who's, I think, 6'2" or 6'3", and he's not, let's say he's filled out and not all of it is good filling out. He's filled out a little like I filled out after I
he's a pitcher. You can get away with that if you're a pitcher.
Yeah. But he's and he reminds me a lot of a Braves prospect, Jacil De La Cruz, who a
You
number
see
of
the real
years,
deal, De La Cruz. Yeah.
he was a big time guy who could throw up to the midnight or up to the upper 90s with a really good slider, and was working on a change and just jumped up a whole bunch of levels in 2019. And then when he lost 2020, he just couldn't locate the crap out of the ball anymore. And Salinas, that's his biggest thing, is he struggles with control. The first 3-4 starts of the year, I think he only had 2 or 3 walks. And now the last 2, he's had at least 3 both starts. Now, granted, one of those starts, he still struck out 12 or 13. But, that little bugaboo has come back the last 2 starts, that he's walked at least 3 both of those starts. And so it's something to watch out for in his profile. But so far he's avoided trouble with it. It's just when you're relying primarily on a fastball slider in single A, that works. But eventually you got to move up the system, and how is that going to work as a starter going through the lineup more than once? Yeah, it's just going to be a thing to watch with him. But yeah, right now there's nobody within a dozen of him within as far as the minor leagues and strikeouts. So he's been impressive.
Yeah. So his strike throwing is a little below average. I've got him at this year 62% strikes, which is a little bit below minor league average. And then his swinging strike rate is well above. The Z-score of it's almost 3, so it's almost like 3 standard deviations above average. He's just killing people.
Royber Salinas, killing it. Watch out for him. By the way, a side note on the Angels prospect we mentioned earlier, Braden Olthoff. There was 2 other Angels that were also players of the month in Double-A for the best name, and I love the Portland Sea Dogs, but by far, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. The Rocket City Trash Pandas in Double-A. That is the best name in minor leagues from now on for me. And they had 2 minor league players of the month. So the Angels, maybe the Angels actually have some potential brewing here. I mean, their farm system's been so bad for so long, but maybe things are looking up.
And they have
needed the pitching.
Yeah, they needed the pitching, but one of theirs was Trey Cabbage, who was a minor league free agent. And he's got a great beard. I love Trey Cabbage's beard.
Great cabbage.
Yes, there you go.
Facial cabbage.
And a really quick side question here, because you're here. Larry Cadarso wants to know, what's up, Larry? Good to see you here. Larry's been a big part of the Plazzo recently. He's glad to have you aboard. Who do you have ranked higher in the Giants farm system, Luis Matos or Elliot Ramos? Ramos.
I would personally put Ramos higher right now.
Oh.
Mainly because you're going to see him. I mean, you have seen him this year already in the majors. Defense is there already at a major league level, and he's got pro level power, which is, you've got a carrying pro tool. You're already major league ready. For me, if I'm ranking a guy, especially if I'm looking at, if I'm looking dynasty level, there's a guy who's already got something that's going to put him in the majors, and he's already found his way to the majors with a tool that is worthy of being in the majors. To me, that's a higher level guy to have. Now, if I'm in a rebuilding situation, I'm probably holding on to Matos over Ramos, because there is more ceiling there. But Ramos right now he's got some ceiling still. But for right now, for sure, he's got he's got a major league carrying tool. He's in the majors, or been in the majors this year already. That's who I would have higher right now.
There you go. That's what's going on between Luis Matos and Helio Ramos. Fun times with the Giants. They get the most out of all their players. It's incredible. All right, who else we got on the list, Ben? Who's next?
Well, of course,
I will jump in. It's Elliot Ramos.
Elliot.
I always say his name wrong.
Oh, is it Elliot?
Yeah, Roger Munter always corrects me on this when I go on.
I've never heard it out loud.
But what Roger said about Ramos is he's a very Giants prospect because he can play all 3 outfield positions, and I forget which side he swings from, but he's also got like a pretty significant. He's a righty with a pretty big platoon split, so he's a righty that can hit lefties. So they like to use guys like that, as we've seen.
I have. Let's see. I can go Well, I can go with one that we talked about when I was on here talking Twins, and that's Emmanuel Rodriguez.
Yeah, I saw him on that list, and
yeah, that was the team that I had to mention, and it's really because they basically were back to back on the single A leaderboard for WRC plus. He and Kyler Fedko is his teammate, and they were back to back on that leaderboard, and they're just about as completely opposite as you can figure on two teammates being as far as players coming into the season. I mean, Rodriguez is the guy who was a high-end international signing that folks are, even though he wasn't a top 100 guy, most people in the Twins system knew exactly who he was. And then you get Fedko, who's, I want to say he was like a 10th or 12th or 15th round draft pick, but probably a college sign. And most folks said if he's going to have any chance as a pro, it's going to be because he is hitting the ever-living stuffing out of a ball, because he doesn't have any chance of playing defense anywhere. And so you have these two opposite-ended guys, and they're both producing right now for Fort Myers. And so I kind of thought, they kind of make a good pairing to put together. And they're both just really, and Florida State League is not a great place to hit the ball. And so for both of them to be hitting the way that they have been has been really impressive, because they've both shown good patience. In fact, I think Rodriguez so far, I want to say he's still sporting a 20+% walk rate, which has really been impressive. Now, he struck out, I think, upper 20s to maybe even 30%. But he's showing some power. He's showing a little speed. He's playing a heck of a center field, which I'll tell you guys, he's not a guy who has plus speed. He has such a feel for the game that he knows when to turn on what he does have for speed. And it's really impressive to watch him play the game, just because you're watching a guy who just has such a natural feel for the game that he knows when to turn it on and can handle center field without that elite speed, which is something to watch already, and so, but that's,
he's seeing over 4 pitches per plate appearance so far this season.
He's got 18 walks already.
If you're a teenager playing full season ball already, and you're seeing that many pitches, that pitchers are having a hard time dealing with them, I think is probably part of it.
Yeah. And I mean, he's not, that was one thing that I know they mentioned in, I don't know if it was fall instructs or early on in spring training this year, but in the off season, they were talking about how the Twins pitchers, minor league pitchers, were getting sick of facing him because he just kept fouling stuff off.
It's a pain in the ass. Yeah. Right.
He would foul stuff off, and he would watch for his, and then he wouldn't necessarily hit a home run, but he would foul off until he got his pitch, and then he would attack it. But it was he would just keep spoiling stuff until he got his pitch, which this was your Kirby Puckett comp, right? Yes.
Emmanuel? Yes.
Yeah. And he may never hit 330 like Kirby did.
Well, sure. Yeah.
But it's just that feel for the game. And Kirby always had this amazing feel for the game, and he happened to also have a feel for the game with the bat too that Rodriguez may not have. But like I said, Kirby played center for a long time after he didn't have legs to play center. Mm-hmm. And they've said the same thing about Rodriguez, that he has a lot of feel for the game. He kind of knows when there's a big moment, because they're talking about when Yohan Duran went down and was pitching to him, and he's launching 100-mile-an-hour sinkers, and he's just kind of spitting on it, and he got Duran to finally throw him a slider, and he launched it. So, I mean, it's just, kind of knowing when he's going to get the right pitch to play with. But, I mean, just that feel for, okay, I got to know what I'm doing. And that's that understanding. And at 19, which that's impressive.
Yeah, and Duran is maybe the closer soon, so he's got
very well
legitimate stuff. Yeah.
Know your role and shut your mouth. That's what I learned a long time ago. Okay, so that's a callback. We're at a half hour here, so how many more we got to go, Ben? What do you want to do here? Who's next? Do you want to save some, or you want to just give us a kind of a teaser of the last couple of guys?
I mean, really, we don't have to hit all of them. I think, what do we got? We just got just two of them left, so I can just kind of go over those two quick. John Heasley is the AAA pitcher I mentioned. He's with the Royals system. He made his major league debut last year, just for a couple of games. Royals have a crap ton of pitchers that are all right at the major league level. But one of the things for Heasley that he really struggled with when he got to the majors last year was he was allowing the ball to get up in the air. He's got a really good sinker, and when he keeps that thing on the ground, he's doing well. And when he's really doing it well, you can tell because guys aren't pulling it because he doesn't have elite velocity. And right now he's getting about almost 40% of his balls are going opposite field. That's kind of telling you guys aren't picking that thing up right out of the hand just well. And so that's what stuck out to me. The last one is Jacob Amaya in the Dodgers system. He is going to be their next, pick your name, Max Muncie, whoever you want to pick that nobody ever knew about, comes up in their system and is going to hit 20-something stinking home runs. It's kind of ridiculous because he's a high school kid that's worked up their system over the years and always played good defense around the infield, always had above average raw power and high intelligence, really, good baseball skill type of kid. And it's all come together this year on the field. And now he's looking like he could be a 20 home run type of kid, maybe 15, but still 15, 20 home runs, steal you double-digit bases, but more importantly, play all over the field, which the Dodgers know what to do with a guy that can play all over the field. They'll get him a lot of playing time. And so you're talking about someone who really fits into their type of system. That's just kind of the thing the Dodgers seem to always be able to do. That's when you have that kind of money and you can produce guys like that, it's an amazing combination to have within your organization. So.
Okay, Jacob Amaya, like a Chris Taylor type, or
that wouldn't be a bad comp. I think Amaya might be
maybe
more
a better glove,
and probably more average, less home runs than Taylor, if you want to go, but probably comparable as far as steals. So if you want to say, Taylor gets about 10, 15 steals. Taylor often gets you a double-digit steals, but he can also probably get you 25, whereas Amaya might top out at 20,
Okay. Wait, real quickly, want to sneak this in. Helmut Cormelis is he's always here. He loves the Prospect Show. What's up, Helmut? Great job, guys. Out of time. Please discuss Estuary? S2, I don't know. I'm going to blow it. Estuary Ruiz in San Diego. Could we talk about Estuary Ruiz real quickly?
He was actually my player of the day today on my daily notes from around the league. He's a 23-year-old guy from San Diego, and he was signed really young, so they had to add him to their 40 when he was still in like low A. It was called low A at the time. Now it's single A, but he hadn't even hit high A yet, and they had to add him to the 40-man roster. And so he's been on the 40 for a while, but ridiculous speed, definite plus speed. Issue is probably not a shortstop glove. They've tried him in second. They've tried him in center. He can pass there, but probably not a guy who's going to ever win a Gold Glove at either one of those spots. But he does have, the way I described it in my write-up today is he kind of has loose power in his, he's 6 foot and 170 pounds. But he has, he just kind of has this, a good comparison or a good idea of what I call loose power is when Aussie Albies really gets a hold of one, that's what loose power to me looks like. It's a small frame guy who he sees it and he just cranks everything in his entire body into it. And so you got to crank everything into it. And then you unwind after that. That's what I call the loose power part of it, is you end up like you're walking to first base like you just unwound a rubber band, because you did. You just had to put everything in to actually hit the ball out. But he can really drive a ball. I like Ruiz a lot, but he's still at Double A, and he's 23. I don't know what the Padres' plans are for him. So I'll turn over the guy who's got a Padres cap on, though.
That's true, he does.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he could be kind of like what I thought Tucupita might be for them, which is a guy who gets on base a lot. I guess maybe Tucupita's got maybe a better glove. I think Tucupita could have played second, third, maybe short in a real pinch. But then Tucupita might not be as fast as Estiuri, too, so that's maybe a trade-off. Estiuri's raging so far this year in Double A. Ops is over 1,200. I will say his BABIP is 424, so you got to take that into account. That's going to make every number look better when you're looking at the triple slash. So that will come down. He might be a guy that can BABIP over 300, but obviously not 400. So,
okay. Well said, guys. Well said. Helmut thanks you, as always. Helmut, always great to have you aboard. Next week, we'll do the show again, and we'll have Ben on again. Ben has been a regular contributor in our Discord. If you want to talk with Ben in the Discord, he seems to be available, and he's been very cool about that. So come on by the Discord for free. The link is at the Twitter handle, the Plaza Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Give me 2.
That's where you can find it. Ben, what else do people know about? You talk about your daily write-ups. Where else can they find stuff that you are doing that is related to prospects?
Right now, I'm writing just on my own site, just kind of because I like to write about baseball. So I keep my site open, and I write. I go through every box score in minor league baseball every night, and I find the guys who've been on base 3 times or who've put together a pretty solid pitching line, and I pick out a top hitter and a top pitcher of the day. And so I put that out every single day, and that's just kind of allows me to keep watching the game. So that's.
So what's the website then?
It's videobaseballscout.com.
Okay, videobaseballscout.com.
I'm lazy as far as I've not linked up all the daily notes right now. I need to do better on that. So the best way to find them is going to my Twitter, and you can go back in my history and find where I've posted all of them, because I need to get better at putting them onto the daily notes page and all that good stuff, because I need a new webmaster. But, seeing as, I write it for free, I can't really afford to, pay for, me to put them on either. So, it's welcome to the club. Yeah, we're all there. We understand, Ben. It's okay. We're trying to do the best we can with what we got each and every day. And what you got, though, your information in that noggin of yours is elite. It's really good stuff. And I'm so glad that Phil, I would not know you without Phil. So, Phil, thanks for bringing Ben into the fold here. That's all because of you. I want to make sure everyone gets their credit and proper due. Follow Ben on Twitter, Big Gentle Ben on Twitter, Phil of Sports, PHIL of Sports with Phil Govier, MJ Govier, GOV is a Victor IER on Twitter, Plaza Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
That'll do it for today's episode. Thanks again for contributing to the live chat, and we'll catch you guys later.